Why is it that D-Day takes all the glory for amphibious assaults in World War II? There were many operations of the same kind in the Battle of the Pacific years before D-Day happened. Well, in order to answer that question, we first need to know what exactly amphibious assaults are.
This section is on amphibious warfare tactics. So here we're going to explain what amphibious warfare actually is and how the Allies used it to gain strategic areas along the coastlines. So what is amphibious warfare? Well, amphibious warfare is the attack by a navy in the ocean trying to secure a fortified beach. So basically it's offensive units in the ocean and they're trying to gain the beach or wipe out all of the defense on the beach. So amphibious warfare is generally carried out in three main parts. So the first stage is the bombing or shelling of the coastline. The second stage is the actual attack on the beach by the men. And the third stage is the transporting of supplies. The first stage is going to be the bombardment stage. So this is when the bombers fly high over the target area and blanket the area with explosions prior to the arrival of the actual troops. So they would fly high enough so that the artillery couldn't shoot them down. However, this made it hard to pinpoint areas on the land that they would try to blow up. So they kind of dropped bombs indiscriminately, hoping to get a good target. So this wasn't extremely effective, but it did help soften the coast. Destroyers and battleships in the harbor or in the ocean also helped with this because they would just shell the coast with lots of explosives. But again, it wasn't that effective. Here's an example of some bombers that they used. So there's the B-17, the B-29, the Hurricane, the Helldiver, the Grumman A-32, and things along that line. So here are some examples of the battleships or destroyers that would be used to bombard the coast. So now we get to stage 2. Stage 2 is when the combat forces, the actual troops, land on the beach. So in World War II, the soldiers were sent in on Higgins boats. Now Higgins boats were made of wood because A, metal was too expensive, they needed to use it for bigger boats, and B, it was able to float more easily so it could drive up on the beaches so the men didn't have to swim it. It had a grill in the front that when it landed and drove up on the beach, the grill would collapse. Before it was protecting from bullets, and now they could just run out easily. So obviously they wanted to avoid mines. They ran for cover and set up mortars, trying to take out the defense so they could secure the beach so more troops could come ashore safely. The final stage is the supply stage. This is when supply ships go to the beach after it is secured. Supplies are given to the advancing troops, and a safe area is established to land troops for land invasion. So in stage 2, they secured the beach, and now they're sending things such as ammunition, medicine, and food to the troops, and they can start the land invasion that they're actually trying to accomplish.
Now that we know what exactly goes on in these clashes, we should explore what happened in D-Day.
By dawn on June 6, 1944, through the fog, Allied warships were appearing off Normandy Beach. Operation Overlord was the largest amphibious invasion in history. The amphibious landings were preceded by extensive aerial and naval bombardment and an airborne assault. This was the largest seaborne invasion in history. The operation began the invasion of German-occupied Western Europe. It led to the restoration of the French Republic and contributed to the Allied victory in war. The Normandy landings were the largest amphibious operation in history. In one day, 175,000 troops landed on the Normandy coast with the help of more than 5,000 ships, crewed by 195,700 personnel from Allied and merchant navies. Unfortunately, most of the tanks that were transported to Normandy ended up not making it to shore. The Germans shot mortar shells at the boats and canvas boomers that were designed to float tanks onto the beach. Do you realize by the time you wake up in the morning, 20,000 men may have been killed, Churchill said to his wife the day before D-Day.
So D-Day was the largest amphibious assault, but that doesn't mean it was revolutionary. Shouldn't we take a look at the assaults that happened in the Pacific before D-Day? There were numerous amphibious landings in the Pacific before D-Day itself. D-Day took place on June 6th, 1944. Operation Watchtower took place on August 7th, 1942. Operation Clean Slate took place on February 21st, 1943. Operation Chronicle and Operation Toenails took place on the same day, June 30th, 1943. Operation Cherry Blossom, November 1st, 1943. Operation Galvanic, November 20th, 1943. Operation Flintlock, January 31st, 1944. Operation Catchpole, 17th of February, 1944. And nothing really new happened at D-Day at all. All the equipment had been used before. The heavy resistance was expected and encountered even in the Operation Watchtower at the invasion of Guadalcanal. And there wasn't an obscene amount of deaths that occurred during D-Day, so it wasn't a huge sacrificial assault. In fact, it was estimated that there were 10,000 Allied deaths at D-Day, while for Allied deaths at the Battle of Okinawa, the number is 14,007.